Let's talk about kind of wrapping this up.
Yeah.
What are we going to take? What are we taking away from this today? Do you feel inspired to do something? Is there something that you're going to continue thinking about? Are you adding something to your to-do list? What are you taking away from today, Jonathan?
Well, you know what? The one thing that has really been bugging me lately was one of the things Julie Lindsay was talking about at which conference? Yeah. Jeff's conference.
Yeah.
Jeff's
conference. No, we'll start calling it Jeff's conference.
Jeff Con 08. But her
now that's cool.
It'd have to be 09 now, Jeff. And what we looked at today was those students with their cell phones, with whatever devices, with their iPods. I don't know. It really bothers me that I understand the logic behind... Sorry, I've got an argument as opposed to a wrap-up.
That's okay.
It really bothers me that we're still putting cell phones in lockers, and I understand the logic behind it, and it really bugs me if there's a student who gets an SMS during class.
Yeah.
But I would feel as if you'd absolutely... if I was in chains, if you made me do that.
Yeah.
Because my calendar is on my telephone... I can take it out and take a photograph whenever I need to, and I feel like we need to release the tools, and that we have to find a way through the barriers that currently exist in terms of making all of those pieces ubiquitous. It's not, to me, it's not just about laptops.
Right.
So that's what I'm taking away. That's my struggle at the moment, because I don't exactly know what the answer is, because I can see that there are so many reasons not to do it, but to me there are so many reasons why I would really like to see that happening in the classrooms. And is it inevitable that eventually students are just going to have something wherever they go anywhere, and we might not even know? It might be their wristwatch. Or would we stop them bringing a wristwatch in? I mean, all those things are just as capable, so why are we doing this?
Right.
Maybe we need to look at this again, look at our approach to what students can or cannot bring into the classroom.
Yeah.
There you go.
Wonderful.
That's my takeaway.
Wonderful. Fabulous. Simon, what are you taking?
Two things. I'm going to respond to the argument of my colleague on my right. And that is, often we have rules to stop something because instead of just enforcing a rule when that tool's not used appropriately and punishing that person in some way, that this is the extreme, we don't do it.
Right.
It's like, it's the old syndrome, one person talks in the class, you're staying in at lunchtime. So I still believe we can be using those things, and when the kids misbehave or whatever, that's when we have to be upset.
Right. So it's like an acceptable use policy, but for anything that you might bring into the classroom.
Correct. And I think that's what often happens in schools, and it still happens in schools. On our contract, the contract says that we have to be at school at 7:40. 20 to 8 or something, we have to be at school. You know.
I don't know, I often don't make it, so...
Well, the thing is, was that written in the contract because 5 people didn't come to school on time? Schools are really bad for that. And we instead of looking at dealing with the issue of those 5 people and solving it, we punish the masses. And I still, that's the belief with those sorts of tools. What I'm taking away today is that the digital archiving, JUICE, but also it was like a refresher. It's like, I think what happens in our jobs, we get certain things placed in our minds, blog, wiki, whatever, and then all of a sudden you see that and go, oh geez, there's actually something bigger out there again, I forgot. So it's like watching CNN U.S.A, I suppose, and you don't realise there's an outside world until you see it.
I was talking to my wife for about 20 minutes there. I slipped out. I'm taking away, I am buying a MacBook Pro. I'm sick and tired.
Yay! One more! One by one.
And
you come to learn about K12 and you end up buying a MacBook Pro.
Yeah,
Look at all these apples,
well, you know,
he's an apple firing
Jeff,
Let me take a picture of that.
Jeff, you have to be in this house though. There's so many Mac products in here.
Silver and red. This is fantastic.
Like, I'm surprised there's no apples on the table there to eat.
There are some apples over there.
There we go. No, for me, we've been successful bringing blogs in with the elementary staff, and I think for me it's just letting people know what is out there, maybe grabbing 10 minutes at the staff time showing them, and I think people just got to come into it when they're ready. And I'm not going to worry about pulling everyone online. I made them all do a blog, but I'm not going to worry too much about teaching them too much too fast, because what I found is, at least with the grade 5 team, once you get a few all-stars going, then everyone's like, well, I want to do that, and that's what's happening in our blogs now at the elementary level. People are like, well, I want to have Picasso web slideshow, and well, I want a blog, and everyone's sort of, they're looking at, they're watching each other, and now that they can see what everyone's doing, the learning curve is really fast. So I'm just going to try to be a facilitator for that, and give up trying to be an expert. Someone put a great quote in a PowerPoint I read saw recently. Forget being an expert, just try to be a facilitator in the wave. So.
Well, the trouble is we can't be an expert.
Well, I think it's important we find. I think it's important we find some of the tools, and in the screencasts, like we have some old ones by you, Jeff, that we still show. And as long as the tools are there that they can find them, then it's a matter of me pointing them in the direction, saying, try this out, and if you have struggle with it, then come to me. I'm trying to get away from that hand-holding, so then my time is used more effectively, because I feel strapped for time. That's my 2 bits.
Well said. How soon are you going to be getting this MacBook Pro?
I want to do it today. I'll wait until we meet with that reseller.
Very cool. All right, Andy, what are you taking away today?
First of all, I always take away from these conversations the importance of school policy and how everyone seems to really seek clarification and understanding of what the direction that the school is taking. And although that's collaboratively developed, in the end we need to probably push that forward. A deeper understanding of the needs for different kinds of professional development, not just sit and get application-based PD, but more, I think we need to kind of attack it on from a philosophical standpoint, and maybe a project-based standpoint even, to help people experience what the students will ultimately be experiencing. I think probably, Amanda, you're a good personal example around the use of your online professional evaluation portfolio. That helped you really deeply understand how Wiki can be used for archiving. We're going to be using my web inspiration to collaboratively develop a inspiration flowchart around communications pathways, and which is a collaboration tool on the web, but it's basically inspiration. So if you know inspiration, if kids have already been taught inspiration, they can now collaborate on one inspiration at the same time, which is kind of cool. There's also some great things on that. Final thing is, I'm going to talk about the importance of rethinking our current practice and to address the issue of cell phones. One of my favorite books, which is a very, very old book, and I don't even know if I have a copy anymore, I probably should dig one up when I'm back in the States, is by one of my old college professors. His name's Forrest Gathercall. Amanda and I both have this guy. He wrote a book called Judicious Discipline back in the early 80s. And basically his whole premise is that we need to take a democratic approach to the discipline we mete out in our schools. And that if we don't want kids to chew gum because it's messy, why not instead teach kids how to chew gum so it's not messy? You guys want to chew gum. We understand that. When you're out in the real world, you're allowed to chew gum. But it's a social expectation that you don't stick your gum underneath the restaurant table after you're done. You put it in a tissue and you put it in the garbage can. If you want to use a cell phone, we understand why you do. We carry cell phones. When I go into a theater and I want to watch a movie or I'm in a meeting, I turn my cell phone on silent.